everyone for waiting so long and sitting in the rain. As your reward, you'll be like hopefully enlightened by this, but it's not going to be a good enlightenment. It's going to be an enlightenment that makes you feel like more of an idiot than you did beforehand. So I apologize for that. But seriously, I appreciate you guys, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the other day I was talking with my friend about being the last man on Earth, and I'd only thought about that like a little bit before, and I thought it would be like kind of sad, but also like really, really awesome in a way. Like I pictured myself like driving through the country in my like Corvette and like living with a pack of wolves and that type of shit. It sounded really, really badass, but I thought it through a little more. And let me tell you, if you want to utterly destroy your sense of self and like feel like a total piece of shit, just imagine what you would actually do if you were the last person on Earth. Because I thought about like, what do I actually do when I'm just alone by myself for like 2 or 3 days? And it's not pretty. Like, the first thing to go out the window is hygiene. Like, I don't give a fuck about brushing my teeth or bathing or anything. I struggle to feed myself. Like I pretty much, like I just eat like pieces of fruit, and that's about it. Like I can't cook for the life of me. I just don't do anything but like sit and watch TV. My clothing choices are highly questionable and consist like mostly of underwear, if that. Like so. It's a pretty grim reality that I'm looking at if I'm the last person on Earth. And the saddest thing of all is I was thinking like, well, I'm probably going to be getting pretty horny after like a couple weeks of this. And I have never thought of a sadder image than this in my entire life. Is what it would be like jacking off if you're the last person on Earth. I think it would be the equivalent of like remembering going fishing with your grandfather, and how lovely that was. And then, so you're watching like videos of you fishing with your grandpa.
Oh my God.
Then, except for instead of really going fishing, you just kind of like limply cast into a swimming pool because there's no fucking fish left and your grandpa's dead. That's how sad jacking off would be if you're the last person on Earth. So on the point of like the point of clothes in general, I've been kind of thinking about like fashion, specifically male fashion, and you wouldn't really think that because my fashion sense is just shit. But I realized the way we dress really makes no sense, and that men should be dressing more like women. And hear me out on this, please. You see, we wear these things, these pants, and like objectively they're uncomfortable. Like your balls are slightly uncomfortable about 95% of the time, and you might not think of this, but that's just because you've gotten used to it after 18, 20 years, whatever, that you don't even think about it. But it's actually a nightmare, and it's the burden of my life. If you look at ancient cultures, I believe ancient cultures were really, really wise in ways that we aren't anymore. If you look at like Scottish culture, they're wearing kilts. You look at Hawaiian Islanders, they have grass skirts. You have people wearing loincloths. The ancient Greeks wearing togas. One thing they don't have, all these garments don't have in common, is they don't fuck with your balls at all. You just let it hang. And for this reason, I think it would make a lot more sense if men wore dresses. Like, why are women wearing dresses? Because you want to see women's legs. You don't want to see men's legs. Also, you don't want to see women's arms, but you do want to see men's arms. So, the dress is like built for the male body, literally. Another thing is like, why do women wear high heels? Because no one gives a shit about a woman's height. They have a huge margin of error. Unless you're a literal dwarf or a literal giantess, it does not matter in the slightest. don't worry about it. But for men, it's actually like a thing that matters. Like, if you looked at me and then looked at me 1 inch taller, you'd say, oh, it would be better like that. And that would go on for a pretty long ways until it got way out of hand. So really, men should be wearing heels, not women. Another thing that I don't get about fashion, this isn't really a problem nowadays, is why do women wear bonnets? Because they don't do it anymore. It just like never made sense to me why they did do it. Because like their hair is like objectively much nicer. Like men's hair is just so shitty that like we literally put glue, like hair gel, which is glue, in our hair to make it look acceptable. Like we wear hats all the time. You don't see many women wearing hats. The reason we wear hats are like makeup for men because they're either covering up your baldness or your shitty hair, one of the two. And this visor really is just decoration, so why don't we just do away with it and wear a bonnet? So like the ideal male aesthetics are pretty much like dress, heel, and bonnet, which is like some colonial settler women, I don't know. Women might think that men have it easier, like short hair's no maintenance, or that it looks good. But if that's the case, why don't they do it? They don't really do it until they're old and don't give a fuck. And at a certain point, none of them give a fuck. Like I've seen grandmas who have the most absurd hairstyles. Like I look at them and do a double take. I'm like, wait, is she rocking a bowl cut mullet hybrid? And I realized that yes, she is. That's how little fucks she gives. Grandmas are absolutely savages. Like most of the most savage things I've heard in my life are from my grandma. Like she'll tell my aunt, like, oh, I noticed you've gained some weight, and it just does not register to her that that's an unacceptable thing to say. Or maybe it does and she doesn't care. I don't know where I'm going with this other than that, like, I don't know, like you should be wearing dresses and grandmas are savages. And like, if you were without people, you'd be kind of screwed. I'm done.